What is up, YouTube? These are Lawless back at you with a brand new video, and here we are. I did it. I earned one of these at the World Champ Celebration event. I went 3-1 with Branded Despy, the best deck, and it's the list I played for it. But before I say any further, I just want to say thank you all for the overwhelming support on the last video. 8 likes, it's beat the like goal. So next week you shall have a combo tutorial on some stuff with that list, and I'm maybe some stuff with this list as well. Who knows? They're similar, and I want to say thank you for all of that. It's amazing, and I want to thank you all. But that out of the way, what were my matchups like yesterday? Round 1, I went against Fiend Snake Eye. Game, I lost every die roll through yesterday, by the way. Didn't win a single die roll. Game 1, he made a board I couldn't draw into my non-engine, and I couldn't win, which is fair enough. It happens. Game 2, his hand was Mulchami, Paralia, Nibiru, Ash, I want to say Bestial Balldrake, and another card. Oh yeah, Bonfire. So I almost managed to claw out a win against him via, well, Spellbound. We'll talk about that later. But otherwise, it didn't happen. Round 2 was against Dark World. I won that 2-1. Against my good friend Charlie. And it was a very close game, honestly. If he didn't break game 1, he would have won. Because the matchup between the two decks is very a case of whoever wins die roll does win the match. Round 3, that was against Toy Box White Forest, which is a very grindy game. Nearly went into time, but just didn't. And that was another fun matchup. I really enjoyed that game, actually. And round 4 was against Snake Eye Viking, where Masquerade helped me win in time, and Despian Comedy won me the game. I'll talk more about Despian Comedy when we get to him. But yeah, without any further ado, then let's go on with this deck profile, shall we? Start off with the main stuff. It's nothing changed from the last one. It's triple Albaz, triple Alaba, double Catizia, Quem, Kit. Kit actually was really useful because I would summon Kit off Sanctify in a matchup in scenarios where I'd puppet lock them and summon back Kit to add back a Brand Fusion from Grave or Retribution, so I then have more follow-up for future turns. And into Toy Box White Forest, it was a good for the Grandfest against it. Quem was actually the most underwhelming card out of these, ironically enough. I think I summoned Quem once, and that was it. That was when I could go first as well, or throughout the entire thing. I rarely made Quem. It was weird. I do think Quem is a good card, but it just didn't come up yesterday. And that was it for the monsters. Not monsters, the starters even. God, not all the monsters. Then we have 3 Shrouded, that's the same. 2 Mercuria, because of a lure. A Tragedy. A Despian Comedy. Bestial Rebellion, Saronit, Puppet. Okay, let's talk about Comedy real quick. Why did I opt to play Despian Comedy? I knew this format, there was a lot of hand traps. It's basically the same as last. And I needed another way to play through like imperms on my Alubas or any of my fusions. And this seemed to be the perfect card for it because it's searchable via Branded Opening or Foolish, and we'll talk about Foolish when we get to it as well. I wasn't playing that before either. And if I just have it in hand, it's an imperm protection. If I need to go Branded Fusion for, let's say, I don't know, Rebellion, and I already either open it or add it, just discard it alongside Tragedy of Branded Fusion. So if I go imperm target my Rebellion, I can go Comedy Effect Tribute for cost, summon it, and it fizzles. Again, it was super clutch yesterday. I would highly recommend giving it a try. It worked amazingly for me. Otherwise, it is pretty standard. It's obviously going to be Edge of Package, but we'll talk about that because that one didn't go as well for me yesterday. But 1 Branded Fusion, triple Opening, triple Deployment, 2 High Spirits for starters. High Spirits was crazy. Kept being added back, kept being discarded. Gave me basically always had a card in hand thanks to this. 1 lost, 1 in red, 1 white. I was playing 2 in red. I cut down on 1 in red and a Talents for Branded for Forge Burial and Despian Comedy. And I didn't need the second one. I never needed it. It never came up. I don't think the second in red is mandatory to play. You do not need to play it. That's it for the branded spells. And, right, Patchwork. Same package, but I only saw this stuff once. And it was in Toy Box Runic. Not Toy Box Runic. Toy Box White Forest. And I actually bricked. I opened both Edgems. But that's unlikely. So I'm not going to discredit there. And the fact I could pitch an Edgem chain to add back a monster each time was very useful. And actually, Comedy actually came up into that matchup as well because I bricked. So did he a bit. So what I did, I went set Comedy. I went set Despine Comedy. And he couldn't attack over it, meaning it protected me for another turn. After I drop listed him. So yeah, this does come up though. And it helped me get more cards in hand to thin the deck through. So while it didn't come up in the way I wanted it to, it still came up in the sense of I went through my deck. So even when it's bricky and you break open two of these, it still comes up in that regard. In terms of consistency, obviously triple allure and a foolish. Foolish I wasn't playing. I'm not a fan of Foolish Burial, I'll be honest. But the main reason I played this was because of Despine Comedy. Because my logic behind it was, if I have Aluba and Foolish, I go Foolish, then Tragedy, add back Comedy. Because no one's playing Draw right now. So if I add Comedy, I then play through an Impermanence, which is like, or a Veiler. And while I'm also on Eclipse still, it's that extra bit of consistency for it. And Comedy actually won me my game to fight against Snake Eye, because I went normal Aluba effect, he went chain Imperm, and I went chain Comedy. He picked the card up, and I quick look at it, read it, and went, well, what is this? And then put it back down, because he realised he couldn't play through it. And in the end, I won because of that. I mean, to Brand a Future, then to Masquerade, burned them once, and I just played to protect my life points in the end. Yeah, triple Eclipse, triple Droplet, 1 talent, 1 cool buy. Obviously, it's a Retribution there as well. But those were my board breakers alongside the Patchwork stuff. Again, not much has changed. I put that round to 1 and put the other one on my side. Side is a bit interesting. I'll talk about side in a minute. But I don't really know if I like talents right now, because it's great going first with all the hand traps, but going second, it's a bit iffy. It's only really going to decks like Fiendsmith Snake Eye or Fiendsmith U-Bell, where you take a monster. But also typically have like a Desiree, so it's dodgy. I'll argue it's dodgy. But it does come up, so it's there. And Droplet was amazing. I actually won one of my games because of it. That's it for monsters. That's it for the main deck. For the side, extra deck, we got 2 Avion, a Lubellion, to Mirror Jade, a Sanctifier, Titanic-clad, budgies up a tiny bit so we can get all the Yalbaz ones in the same row. Rindbrum. Didn't match into Tenpai all day. Didn't even care. Didn't need the Albanazes. I don't think it's needed. I puppet locked 2 people the entire time. But Sanctifier was incredibly good into, what do you call it? Toy Box, where I keep something back my Mirror Jades from the grave and have it basically a nigh infinite, like, amount of disruption into them. Because thanks to Sanctifier, I could always bring stuff back, and then it would help play into that deck. 1 Grand Mignol, 1 Quertus, 1 Masquerade. And Masquerade won me my round 3 into Fiendsmith Snake Eye Viking. Quertus was surprisingly clutch as well. And Grand Mignol was Grand Mignol. You'd always need this. And of course we have 1 Stapelia, 1 Furious, a Magnum, and Chimera. Obviously I didn't open much patch, I didn't make this tool, but again, more testing needs to be done. I actually didn't make Chimera at all either. I made Furious once to fight against Snake Eye, but that was it. I didn't make use of any of those 3 in the tournament. And that plays into one of my side deck cards, which we'll talk about later in a minute. But yeah, that was it for the extra. It's the same as last time. It's very similar to the last one, but we've got a side. I'm going to talk about what I made the changes I did. In terms of the side, we have a Magnamu and a Bulldrake, a triple Dark Ruler, double Spellbound, 1 Talents, 1 Duster, 1 Prosperity, triple Evenly, Bright Blazing Branding King, TC Boot. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Let's go through them one by one. Bestials, I knew there'd be Dark Rod there because he's my friend. So I need some counters to that in case I lose drones first, so actually going second into it. So I put them in, didn't draw them. I also put them in against, I think, Toy Box and didn't draw them either. Happened, but they are utility and you do need to play some mysteries on the side. Dark rulers for decks like Fiends with Snake Eye, like Fiends with Bell, that I was expecting to see. I only saw one of them. And it's just so I can turn off their entire board and we continue. Also, that's and even he is the best board breaker right now. Okay, let's look at the other ones. This is a bit weird. Talents is here because I can put it in going first. That way I make sure it's got value. And going second, I can always take out the one in my main unless it's against Fiends with Snake Eye. Duster with back row matchups, and it was nice and general to have. This is on me to turn off everything. This is TC Boots, the best fight right now. And then there's these three I think we need to talk about. So Spellbound, if you don't know what it does, there's a text. If camera wants to focus, hold up. There you go. All face summons your opponent currently controls cannot be used as tribute or used as fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link summon. So basically it stops ritual summoning and any of the other summons because you can't tribute for rituals. And this almost saved me against Fiends with Snake Eye because I used it when they summoned Anima, which will basically lock them out of links. If they didn't find a way to get summoned Snake Eye Sire Bell Star to the board, they would have had to dealt damage and pass, and then from that point I could continue playing my turn out and potentially have won my turn on the turn 3. But it didn't happen. They got through, and it happened to Yu-Gi-Oh! But it almost won me around, and I do highly recommend this. Prosperity. No, this is a bit controversial. I think Prosperity is a great side card in regular branded because you won't play it in the main because you will need your entire extra deck in going blind round 1 because you don't know you're against, do you? When you don't know you're against, you might need that Chimera, you might need that Magnum, you might need this, you might need them, right? But if you're not going into them, but once you know what you're against, you could put this in. And I wouldn't do it going second, personally. You commit too much. But going first, you can quite easily put, say, this in, these two, and these two in. So, no, not even that. These 6 cards in, say. Because this counts as basically an extra copy of each of these cards. Because you can dig through your deck with this. It counts as an extra copy of every single card in your deck. And you could easily just take out, if I can go through my deck real quick. I personally took out a lot of the time. Triple Allure. 1 Mercurio because I'm not playing Allure. So that's what, 4 and 2, a Shrouded and an Aluba. And that was it. That's all I would do. So if I pull these up a bit so you guys can see. That's what I would side in and out. And it worked tremendously for me. Because by putting in the Prosperity, I was no longer fearing draw as much with the Allures, both siding. And this also just helps me just dig deeper into my TC Boos, my Spellbounds, etc. And then the question's always going to be, but what do you banish of your extra deck? Because you need it all. No, you don't. Going first, you don't need your entire extra deck. That's something no one seems to understand about Brandon. You do not need the entire extra deck going first. I hardly ever use my entire extra deck going first. So this is the extra again. Going first, what do you take out? You don't need Chimera, you don't need Magnum. You can argue. So you want to go for 3 because you're scared. I mean, fair. 3. You want to go a bit more? Or personally, I go for 6 every single time. You do not need 2 Mirror J going first. You do not. You have enough ways to bring it back. You do not need either Quietus or Masquerade, depending on time. If you're short on time, side out Quietus, banish Quietus. If you're not, do Masquerade, right? And then it's Magnum. That's 6. And it comes up so much, honestly. If I quickly shuffle my deck up and did it post-siding, and I saw the Prosperity, that's what I would banish going first 100% of the time. Try and dig deeper into my deck. Either to find a call by, I wouldn't really do that. I more do it after I've done everything to try and see that non-engine. So I can then hopefully win the game on the spot via TC Boo or, a Spellbound. And yeah, that's the list. I'll give you guys one quick test stand just to show you how I would play this deck out. So I will see you all in 1 second once I've shuffled. Alright, here we go. I've shuffled the deck. Let's go through and see what this test stand is. I'm going to pause the recording just so I can shuffle. We have a Quem. We have a Mercuria. We have a Brand Infusion. We hard opened it. That's great to see. a Retribution, and a Shrouded. Now, where many people go wrong here, they just immediately go normal Quem. I wouldn't do it. I'd personally go stick with Shrouded first. I would go Shrouded, send Albaz, because you can never have enough Albazes in the grave. That's very important to note, kids. Unless all three are in the grave, I argue you can have. You'd want at least one in grave at all times. I'm just going to shuffle out the deck. Here we go, and draw. Deployment. That's great to see. It makes my life a bit easier for playing through hand traps because we can definitely puppet lock if we get ashed. We go normal Quem at this point, and we use its effect. We do not do deployment first because we don't really care if this gets negated. And we will send to the graveyard. Find it, Cartesia. Because then we have Brand Fusion here. And then we go deployment summon a Cartesia. And that seems weird, but then you always have a Cartesia in rotation, one in hand, one in the field, in the opponent's turn. Do you see the lines? So we'll do 2 lines, one where I get ashed, one where I don't get ashed. So we'll do that line where I don't get ashed first. No, where I do get ashed. What do I have? A Brand Fusion Ash Blossom. Cartesia fuses with Merc to make Grand Wignall. Oh, that's Guardian Chimera. Whoops a daisy. There it is. Grand Wignall. Grand Wignall 1 to send Quem 2 to set. Set something back Cartesia. There's that there. And we send the Branded Dragon, but how am I going to get access to Branded to the puppet from here? And there we just set that. End phase Albion sets from the deck. Single copy. Branded in red when I can find it. Digging through this pile. And the Cartesia engrave adds itself back to my hand. And here it seems that we are out of dark monsters because what we are. On the opponent's turn, we just wait before we start playing. Because we actually don't need Quem here. So what we can do, we go Cartesia effect to fuse with the Quem. Don't need Quem to secure the puppet lock, which is a shocking thing to say because it's true. Summon out Masquerade. And then we go Branded in red, target Albaz. Of course, we get Biss sealed. I mean, it's sad and we don't get to do it. But if we don't, it goes back to my hand. We have 2 cards in hand, 2 on field. We fuse with the Masquerade. Because 1 Grand Wignall is enough, people. Make Lubellion. And then we go Lubellion effect to summon. Shuffle back the Albaz. Shuffle back the Wignall. And I've just realised my misplay. I now can't do Cartesia to fuse again. So yeah, that was my misplay. And you see, this is why people, you think your test hands through. And this is why we do it here. It's learning. So we don't, so say now we know we can't do that line, right? It's a learning experience, folks. Learning experience. Now it's a bit more tricky because we want to get this in rotation again because I only play the 1. Can I puppet lock? If I can't puppet lock, say, I'm going to go Cartesia fuse with these 2. Or, better yet, actually, we'll wait till they want to play. Cartesia effect to fuse. Albaz and Grand Wignall make Magnum the reliever. That's a legal thing you can do. Quem effect, target Albaz, summon it, and you can chain Magnum, banish that fusion deployment to pop something. Summon back an Albaz, discard the Cartesia, and you can fuse and play from there. On that point, you probably can find a way to Sanctify. But let's say they haven't won. But back to where we were. So we had on our hand, I believe, we had opened 1, 2, 3, 4, and a Shrouded, which met us that as a draw. So we'll put everything back. Everything goes back. Okay. How does this line change? Well, I think the same thing applies. You know, we're going to that, send that, deployment, and you get this on board. Like that. It's in red. And then we went Brand Fusion, like I said last time. But then it gets to resolve, and that's huge. It's huge. Now, here you have you could go off and make Albi on him, but I don't think it's worth it. I think you just go off for Rebellion. So we're going to make then an Albaz. Then we send something else. weirdly, you can actually send Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, because, hear me out, we have Cartesia to summon back anyway. But you don't have to. I think, personally, what I would do, so I can make sure I have a Dark Irritation, is Tragedy. Or, if you're fearing an impermanence on the other thing, or it should have hit you anyway, but now you can always send Comedy. But I'm sending Tragedy here. And then you just go, find my Lubellion, it's at the top more than likely than me. Yep, Lubellion effect. I personally would be pitching the Mercuria, because Retribution, I think, is more valuable as a set for the opponent's turn. You chain the Tragedy. Here, I'd personally just search either Alibert or Comedy. It's your choice, your preference. I'm going to get Comedy because that is my favourite Despia right now. It came up for me yesterday, and I definitely could have beaten Fiend's Mistake High. I used it right. And then, I forgot to say you could also do Quem Summon out of Cartesia here. That was my misplay. To play through Ghost Ogre. You shuffle back 1, you shuffle back 2. That's a Mirror Jade right there. And here I will go Cartesia effect, because if they ogre me, I don't really care. I've got a second one. And here I do fuse with the Comedian to, again, Comedy to play through more stuff. Summon the Gwakenol effect Ascend. Yeah, you do Gwakenol effect Ascend. Same thing as last time. Albion. Because we already have Quem rotation. Second, End Phase, Albion. Setting from the deck that Brandon and read from earlier. And you Cartesia, add back. Well, how does this line differ? We still don't have Puppet rotation. We only play one Puppet, Gwakenol. On the opponent's turn, we can go Despian Comedy effect, tributing Gwakenol to summon itself. And from that point, we can go Brandon and red, targeting Albaz. I mean, we can always fuse from the Mirror Jade, but I think this line's better because then it means that the Comedy gets more value out of it than it already had. Make the Lubellion effect, it pitch Cartesia, chain Quem, target Mercuria, because then we can summon it, and that's a negate for monster effects. Shuffle back the Albaz, and we shuffle back the Gwakenol. Make Sanctifier. And then I know some Chuckle Nuts will be like, oh, sorry, you can't see that. There you go. Chuckle Nuts going to be like, oh, but now you have no space for the Puppet Lock. We don't use Cartesia this turn, so we go Cartesia fused with Lubellion. Gwakenol send. Puppet. And you go Sanctifier, summon Puppet to their fields, because we are evil. And we summon Cartesia to ours. And from that point, it's game. It's just game. But yeah, thank you for watching. Do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. Till the next one then, right, will be a combo video. Cheerio.